guys, I welcome you all to this video. Myself B. Mounika, Assistant Professor of English, KSR College of Arts and Science for Women, Tiruchendur. Today we are going to discuss the history of English literature. First one, Unit 3, early drama. So what is meant by early drama? So the early English drama, which was began with religious themes and gradually moved toward secular and entertainment, and it can be divided into four main types. First one, mystery play. So what is meant by mystery play? So these plays determined Bible stories like creation, last judgment. It can be performed by trade guilds, and it was performed in the during festival times like Corpus Christi. And the next one, miracle play. It was focused on the lives of saints and their miracles. It is aimed to inspire faith by showing divine interventions. And the third one, interludes. So the interludes, which was oftenly presented at royal courts or noble houses, which was served as bridges between morality plays and the more developed Elizabethan drama. And the next one, Elizabethan and Jacobean drama, the characteristics with reference to the university wits. So the first one, this period marked the golden age of English drama because with the emergence of public theatres and great playwrights were raised in this period. So and the writers, they also followed some characteristics in their works. The first one, blank verse, because the writers, they usually used the blank verse in their works. It was called the unrhymed iambic pentameter in their works. Next one, they focused on the complex characters, often with tragic flaws, because the writers mostly followed the tragic flaws in their writings. Next, the university wits. A group of highly educated playwrights from Oxford and Cambridge who proved the way of Shakespeare. And they admired the writings of Shakespeare. The first one, Christopher Marlowe, he was a well-known writer, and his famous work was Dr. Faustus. And he introduced that character in a strong magic hero. And the next one, Thomas Gitt, he wrote a Spanish tragedy. He admired the tragical plays of Shakespeare, so only he wrote this work, the Spanish tragedy, and they were inspired and influenced later dramatists like Shakespeare. Next one, Unit 4, later drama. The later drama also has some kinds. The first one, restoration drama. It was flourished after 1660 when the monarchy was restored under the Charles II, and the theatres also reopened. The women also acted on stage for the first time in England, and they also followed some characteristics in their works, and their famous works, the comedy of manners. In this comedy of manners, the writers followed some unique talents between that, separated himself to others. The first one, witty dialogue. They introduced some newly witty dialogues in their works, and the sexual themes and stock characters, and they introduced their works in urban settings, like they focused on the and they highly focused on the fashionable city London. And the next one, William Conqueror. The William Conqueror, he was the famous personality in England. He admired the works of the London writers, so only he wrote that work, The Way of the World. In this work, he known for refined wit and polished dialogue in his work. He mostly followed the newly changes in their works. Next one, William Wycherley. His famous work, The Country Wife. In this work, he followed the dark tone, and he exposed his characters in a bold manner, and he introduced that characters in a morality way, and his plays were highly ended in a morality way, and the happy endings, only he focused on it. Next one, anti-sentimental comedy. So the anti-sentimental comedy which was emerged in the 18th century was a reaction to sentimental comedy, which focused too much of virtue, morality, and emotional appeal. Yeah, and it also has some characteristics in a unique manner. The first one, the revival of humor and realism. It was a return to satire and comic situations. The criticism of sentimentality, it exposes a artificial morality and overdone emotion. Next one, the Goldsmith. So the Oliver Goldsmith was one of the famous writer and critic. He wrote his work, The She Stoops to Conquer. It was a famous work of Oliver Goldsmith. In this work, he introduced the characters in a comic manner, and the some mistakes identifies also he followed in this work. So this works mostly goes on the way of comic misunderstandings. The theme of this work was class and social manners. The high class people, the low class people, these class manners also he strictly followed in his work, and he exposes his work in a fun and not moral presenting way. Next one, the Richard Princely Sheridan. His famous work was the School First Scandal. It was a satire of gossip. He introduced the system of gossip and hypocrisy and fake sentimentals also he followed in this work. He was a brilliant user of irony and dramatic situations in all kind of works. Next one, Unit 5, 18th century novel, Defoe and Fielding. So, the 18th century works, the birth of modern England, the rise of middle class leadership and printing press, and the realistic prose fiction also introduced in the time. The shift from poetry and drama also narrative fiction about the individual experience, social realisms, and moral questions also raised in that period. First, Daniel Defoe, 1660 to 1731, he was considered as the one of the founder of the English novel, and he wrote realistic first-person narrative that reassembled autobiographies or personal memoirs in his work. He blended a feat and fiction to this work. He was a journalistic in he uses some new way of journalistics in style, and his major work, Robinson Crusoe, it was a 16 it was published in the year of 1619. In this work, it was a story of a man and his and he followed some survivals and self-reliance and human endurance to this play. It was introduced in the time of colonialism, and Christian providence also happened in this time. Next one, Henry Fielding, 1707 to 1754, he was also considered as the father of the comic novel, and he also followed some new irony and satire and moral purposes on his play.